I always take my dog for a walk in the morning and I go to the park where I meet interesting people. There's a little old lady who walks in the park with me every once in a while. She's very spiritually inclined and we have discussions. This morning she asked me a very interesting question. She asked me, "Robert, you say that the world is phenomena and in continuous change. And you also say that consciousness is reality, the substratum of existence. Now we can confirm that the world is changing because we can see it, but how can we confirm consciousness? How do we know that it is not changing?" And I thought it was a very interesting question. Now you know that you exist, don't you? Everyone is aware of their own existence. When you go to sleep and you are in the state of deep sleep, you still exist, but the world does not. And as far as you are concerned, the world only exists when you are awake. But once you go to sleep, the world no longer exists for you, and you are in a state of dreamless sleep. The state of dreamless sleep is like self-realization, except you have consciousness, but there is no denying that you exist. For when you wake up, you say, "I slept well." The state of dreamless sleep is like a person who died. It gives you an idea of what happens to you when you die. You are in a state of dreamless sleep, and you usually stay like that for about 200 to 400 years, Earth time, before you do anything else. So the first state of consciousness is dreamless sleep, and you exist in dreamless sleep. And you also exist when you dream. Take a look at your dreams. A person dreams he is married, and his wife has cancer. She is dying of cancer, and they both come to see me. He says, "What should we do? My wife has had 10 operations and is dying of cancer?" And I'll say, "The only proper thing to do is turn within and not react to it, because everything is determined before birth." They look at me and say, "That's not a practical answer. We want something practical." And I'll say, "That's the best L can do. It's a dream. Hold on, you will awaken soon." But that's not good enough for them. They are caught up in a dream. Now remember, you are dreaming the dream. Everything is going on in the dream. In your dream, there is a sky, there are flowers, there is a moon, there are people, just like the world. And the dream seems to be external from you, but if you investigate, you see the dream is all taking place in your mind. While you are dreaming, you still exist as the dreamer. This is only a dream, can't you see? Do not take it so seriously. They both leave. Then somebody else comes to me in a dream and he says, "Robert, I've got a lot of anger in me. I do not trust anybody. I have no friends. I feel inferior and have low self-esteem. What should I do?" And I say, "Turn within and you will become free and liberated because it's all a dream." And he says, "I can't do that. I want a practical answer." And he goes away. So you're here having a dream all this time, but then you wake up and it's all gone. It never happened. Your wife never had cancer. There never was a recession, and you were never angry. But you still existed while you were having a dream. So now you existed during dreamless deep, and you existed during the dream, and now you are awake, and you still exist. So you see the part of you that exists is permanent. It is the I am, the self. It is consciousness. Everything else is illusion. It comes and goes. It is always changing, changing, changing. You are real. What you appear to be is false. Identify with the real, not with the false. Do not accept anything you see as reality. The only freedom you've got is to turn within and not react to any condition, and you will be safe. One day you will awaken from this dream, for this is also a dream, and you will be free. So let's talk about you. Look at all the problems you think you have. Where do they come from? How do they get there? Why do you become upset over them? Think of all the possessions you are afraid to lose. Think of all the sicknesses you think you are going to catch, or that you think you have. You look at the world and you become sick because you don't like it. You have to ask yourself, for whom is the world? For whom are these problems? For whom is the anger? Am I really the doer, Am I the body? Am I the mind? What am I? Ask yourself. Now, how does a Jainani think? I can tell you. Say there is a man. He's a Jainani. He's the manager of a bank. He's got 2 sons that he loves dearly. One day, the 2 sons are going to New York by plane, and the plane crashes. Both sons die. He takes care of the funeral arrangements, goes to the burial, and when it's all over, goes back to work like nothing happened. His wife and his friends and relatives approach him, and they look at him and say, "You heartless bastard, how can you treat your children like that? They loved you so much, and you loved them. You don't seem to care that they died. You never shed a tear. You were not upset at the funeral. How can you be like that?" And he smiled and said, "Sit down with me. Let me explain. A day prior to this, I had a dream, and in that dream, I was a king and married a beautiful princess. We had 6 lovely sons. I used to go hunting with them and fishing, and we truly loved each other. Then one day there was a hurricane, and all 6 of my sons got killed. But then I woke up. So my question to you is, for whom shall El mourn? For the 2 children who were killed in this dream, or for the 6 sons that were killed in the last dream? This is how a Jainani sees things. What do you think of that? It had nothing to do with being heartless. It had nothing to do with not having compassion. There is a great compassion, but there is a deeper wisdom, a deeper knowledge. There is no such thing as birth, and there is no such thing as death. Nobody is born, no one dies, and no one prevails in between. Nothing that appears exists. Only the self exists. And all this is the self, and El am that. You are absolute reality, ultimate oneness. You are consciousness, emptiness. That is your true nature. Why not abide in it and be free? Why think about other things? Even while I'm talking to you, some of you are thinking of other things. You can't help it. It's force of habit. Empty your minds. Become still, and everything will happen of its own accord. There is really nothing you have to do. Just be still. Be still and know that I am God. I am as the self. The self is omnipresence. This means that everyone, everything, both sentient and insentient, is God or consciousness. Accept that and be free. Why do you think of other things? Why concern yourself with your body or your mind or the world? Why bother with yourself? Quit trying to solve problems. This doesn't mean that you are going to do nothing. For as I have told you so often, your body is going to perform the acts it came here to do. If you are meant to be an accountant, you are going to be an accountant. If you are meant to be a preacher, you'll be a preacher. If you are meant to be a homeless person, you will be a homeless person. But you have absolute nothing to do with it. For you are absolute reality, and you have absolutely nothing to do with the workings of your body or your mind. Allow your mind to say and think the way it will, only don't identify with it. Allow your body to do what it must, but do not react to it. Everything will happen of its own accord. When you allow your mind to think of its own accord, the thoughts begin to dissipate, and soon you have empty mind. Empty mind is consciousness, realization. That's all you have to do. Have an empty mind. But as long as you believe, I am the doer, and you force yourself to have an empty mind, you never will, because the forcing makes the mind stronger. Rather, observe your thoughts, watch the mind thinking, and leave it alone. Do not identify with your thoughts or with your body, for in reality there is no body and there are no thoughts, for there is only the self, and you are that. All is well, and everything is unfolding as it should. There are no mistakes. None have ever been made, none are being made, and none will ever be made. It's all perception. It's how you perceive things. For instance, when you look at me, what do you see? If I ask each one of you, I get 7, 8, 9 different answers, but the truth is you are seeing yourself. I am simply a mirror for your own reflection, but I am a self-contained mirror. So all this is taking place as an image on myself. All of life experiences are images on the screen of eternity. The screen is real. The images change. Consciousness is the screen. When you identify with consciousness, you become consciousness. When you identify with the image, you enhance the image, and you worry and fear, and you have all sorts of experiences. As soon as you begin to identify with reality, with consciousness, all fear leaves you, and you become free. But that's the only free choice you get. Everything else has been preordained. The free choice is, with what are you going to identify, with the image or the screen? If you identify with consciousness, you are no longer reacting to conditions. Because you understand that all things are for a short time only, then they disappear. Consequently, nothing will irritate you. Nothing will upset you. Nothing will bother you, for you are now appearing as only an image and will soon disappear. So today, we think we are going to make this a better world. The world has its own collective karma. It's going through a phase. Your job is to save yourself. If you find yourself in a burning building, you do not stop to admire the pictures on the wall. You get out of the building as fast as you can. So when you know you have a short time in this existence, you do not stop to play the games of life. You try to find yourself and become free as fast as you can.